I remember a time in my life when everything felt like it was falling apart. I was broke, not just financially, but mentally, spiritually. I was young, filled with dreams that seemed so far away, they might as well have been on another planet. And let me tell you, dreams don't always come wrapped in bright lights and cheering crowds. Sometimes they come with rejection letters, missed phone calls, and people telling you, maybe this isn't for you. I was living in a tiny place, barely had furniture, eating whatever I could afford. I'd go to auditions, pouring my soul into those moments, thinking this is it, only to walk out and never hear back. And every time that phone didn't ring, a little piece of belief chipped away. That silence is a monster if you let it grow. It starts to whisper lies to you. It starts to say, you're not good enough, you're not special, you don't have what it takes. One night, I came back from another failed opportunity. Doors were closing left and right. I sat there alone, lights dimmed, head in my hands. I was tired. Tired of trying, tired of hoping, tired of pretending to be okay. I got up and walked into the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and I didn't see a winner. I didn't see a fighter. I saw a man questioning if he had any value left at all. I looked in my own eyes and I saw someone I didn't recognize, but right in that moment of absolute stillness, I felt something shift. It wasn't loud, it wasn't fireworks, it wasn't some divine bolt from the sky, it was a whisper, a still small voice, and it said something simple, something powerful. No one's going to hand you belief, you've got to build it yourself. You see, that's the truth most people won't tell you. Belief doesn't show up once you succeed. It doesn't magically appear after someone gives you a trophy, or a contract, or applause. Belief comes when there's nothing but the raw, empty space between who you are and who you want to be. And in that space, you have to make a choice to either shrink or rise, a choice to either listen to fear or feed your faith. I made that choice. I said to myself out loud in that mirror, you're not done, you've got more, you're not quitting, you will become what you see in your mind. And I didn't believe it fully at first, not really, but I kept saying it. I kept feeding that belief. I made a decision to show up every day like someone who believed, even if I didn't always feel it. Because belief isn't a feeling, it's a discipline, it's a habit. It's a muscle you train when everything hurts. People think confidence just comes to you. No, it doesn't. Confidence is built in private. It's built when you keep walking after you've fallen. It's built when you show up to the gym, to the audition, to the interview, even after you failed the last 3 times. It's built in those invisible moments when the world's not watching. And when you do that enough, when you keep showing up, something starts to shift. You start becoming who you were meant to be. I'm standing here today not because I never doubted, but because I learned how to believe in spite of doubt. Because I refused to let fear write my story, because I chose belief when it made no sense. And I'm telling you now, whoever you are, wherever you're at in your journey, that you can do the same. Maybe your life doesn't look like success right now. Maybe you're surrounded by noise, negativity, failure, fear, but I'm telling you, you still have a choice. You can choose belief. You can choose to wake up tomorrow and say, I don't care what the world says, I believe in me. You can look yourself in the mirror, even with tear-stained eyes, and still say, I'm not finished. Because when you believe in yourself, really believe, it doesn't matter how many doors close, you'll kick one open. You'll build your own. You'll stop waiting for permission and start writing your own path. It starts with that one moment, that one decision, and that mirror. Look yourself in the eyes and say it with your chest. I believe in me. That's where the power lies. I want to talk to you about something real. Something we all experience but few of us talk about. Doubt. That inner voice that creeps in late at night, when the world is quiet and you're left alone with your thoughts. That voice that says, you're not good enough, you're too late, you'll never make it. That voice that questions every step forward, and for some of us, that voice isn't quiet, it's loud, it's constant. It's been there for years, and it doesn't just live in your mind, it takes root in your heart. I know that voice, I've heard it, I've battled it, I've stared it down. And if you've ever felt that way, if you've ever second-guessed yourself, if you've ever felt like you were pretending to be someone stronger than you really are, I want you to know you're not alone. But more importantly, I want you to know this: you're more powerful than that voice. You see, doubt is sneaky. It disguises itself as logic. It pretends to be caution, practicality, humility, but in reality, doubt is fear with makeup on. Doubt is fear dressed up in fancy language, trying to keep you small, trying to keep you in a place that's comfortable, predictable, safe. But safe doesn't build dreams. Safe doesn't grow greatness. Safe doesn't stretch your soul. Let me tell you what I've learned over the years. Every single person who has achieved something meaningful, something lasting, has gone toe-to-toe with doubt. You name the person, you study their story, and somewhere in there, you'll find a moment where they almost gave up, where they questioned everything, where they were hanging on by a thread. But you know what separates the great from the forgotten? It's not talent, it's not money, it's not luck, it's the decision to keep going in spite of doubt. There was a moment early in my career, right after I got a little success, just enough to taste the dream, but not enough to feel secure. And with that little bit of success came pressure, eyes watching me, expectations rising, and suddenly that voice of doubt, which had been quiet for a while, came roaring back. What if you're not as good as they think? What if you fail in front of everyone this time? What if this is as far as you'll go? And I remember feeling paralyzed. I was so scared to move forward because the fear of failing now, after a little taste of progress, felt worse than never trying at all. But something inside me pushed back. Something deeper than the fear, something rooted in purpose. And I said to myself, if I let doubt win now, it'll keep winning forever. So I took that next step. I did it afraid. I showed up shaking. I walked out there with dry mouth, sweaty palms, heart pounding. And I gave it everything I had. And even though I wasn't perfect, I was present, and that presence, that willingness to act in the face of doubt, opened doors I didn't even know existed. That's the secret. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is the decision to keep showing up even when fear is screaming in your ear. It's looking at that voice that says you can't and replying, "Watch me." And here's something else. Every time you act in defiance of doubt, you weaken its hold. Every time you push through that mental fog, even just a little, you get stronger, you get clearer. You start to build a foundation inside that can't be shaken by circumstance. Because the truth is, belief isn't built in the easy moments. It's built when everything in you wants to quit, and you don't. Some of you have dreams you haven't spoken out loud in years because doubt has convinced you they're too big. Some of you have talents you've hidden because someone, somewhere, told you you'd never make it. But hear me now, those dreams are still alive. That talent is still in you, and no voice of doubt, no fear, no failure can take that away unless you let it. The next time that voice shows up, and it will, don't run from it. Don't shrink, stand up, stand tall, speak louder than that voice. Remind it of who you are. Remind it that you've been through storms and still stood strong, that you've fallen and gotten back up, that you are still here, still fighting, still growing. Because in the end, the voice of doubt is only as powerful as the silence of your belief. Speak up, take the next step, and keep moving forward, even when the fear tries to follow you, especially then. Discipline, that word sounds heavy, doesn't it? It's not glamorous. It doesn't sparkle. It's not the thing that gets the standing ovations or the applause. But let me tell you something I learned the hard way. Discipline is the quiet engine behind every dream that ever came true. Belief is the spark, but discipline is the fuel that keeps the fire alive long after motivation has walked out the door. I've seen so many talented people come and go: actors, athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, people with more gifts in their pinky than others have in their whole body. But talent without discipline, that's a rocket without fuel. It looks good on the launch pad, but it's never going anywhere. Discipline is what separates the wishers from the warriors. There were mornings when I didn't want to get up. Even after success, even after the world said, "You made it," there were days when I felt tired, drained, stretched thin. There were roles I didn't think I could play, scripts I wasn't sure I could do justice to, speeches I didn't feel ready to deliver, and in those moments, I didn't rely on motivation. I relied on habit, on routine, on discipline. I would wake up and say, "You don't feel like doing it. Good, do it anyway." Because discipline doesn't wait for your feelings to catch up. Discipline says, "We've got work to do." It doesn't ask for your mood. It doesn't check your schedule for comfort. It knocks on your door every day and says, "Let's go." And when you answer that call, again and again, that's when something shifts inside you. That's when greatness is built. Some people think success is about making one big move, one moment that changes your life, but real success, it's built on 1,000 small choices you make when no one's watching. It's built on the nights you stayed in to study when others were out partying. It's built on the mornings you dragged yourself to work when your body said, "Stay in bed." It's built on that lonely space between wanting something and earning it. Discipline isn't loud, it's not flashy, but it's always there, grinding, pushing, stretching you. Think about an athlete training for the Olympics. You think they're motivated every day. You think they always feel like giving 110%. No, but they lace up their shoes, they show up to the gym, they practice until their legs give out, until their lungs are burning. Why? Because they know the gold medal isn't won on the podium. It's won in the dark, in the silence, in the repetition. There was a time when I had to learn this for myself. I was preparing for a role that demanded everything from me, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and let me be real, I didn't want to put in that kind of work. I wanted to skip the hard parts, take shortcuts, but I knew that wouldn't fly. I knew that anything less than full discipline would show up on the screen. And so I got up every morning and gave it everything. I practiced, I studied, I prepared like the world was watching, even when no one was. And that's the lesson. The way you do the small things is the way you do everything. If you cut corners in private, it'll show up in public. If you make excuses when no one's looking, that weakness will reveal itself when the pressure is on. Discipline is about integrity. It's about deciding who you want to become and then showing up every single day as that person, even if you're tired, even if you're scared, even if you're not sure it's working. You want to know how you outlast your competition? Discipline. You want to know how you build something that lasts? Discipline. You want to know how to believe in yourself even when the world is doubting you? Discipline. Because discipline is the evidence of belief. It's you saying to the world, "I don't just wish for success. I'm working for it every day, brick by brick." So if you're in a place right now where things feel slow, where you're not seeing results, where you're wondering if all this effort is worth it, hear me now, keep going. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Not because someone's watching, but because you are. Your future is watching, your legacy is watching, and every rep, every step, every sacrifice, it all matters. Because when it's all said and done, when the lights are on and your moment comes, the world will see the success, but you will know the truth. You'll know it wasn't luck. It was discipline. Now, let me tell you something that a lot of people forget. Failure is not the enemy. No, failure is not the thing to be afraid of. You want to know what you should really fear: standing still, playing small, never stepping out of the comfort zone, living a life so safe that you never give yourself the chance to grow, to rise, to become. We've been taught to look at failure like it's the worst thing that can happen. Like failing means you're not good enough, not strong enough, not smart enough, but that's a lie. Failure is not a stop sign, it's a detour. Failure is a teacher, and sometimes it's the only teacher that gets through to us. I remember failing auditions that I thought would break me. I remember walking out of those rooms, script in hand, ego bruised, pride shattered. I'd put in the work, I'd rehearsed, I'd dreamed, and still I heard no. over and over again, and let me tell you, every no felt personal, like the door wasn't just closing, it was slamming, and with each one I had a choice to make. Do I give up or do I go again? I went again, because something deep inside told me this: failure doesn't define me. What I do after failure does. That's the difference right there. That's where the line is drawn. Some people fall down and stay down. Others fall down and get back up wiser, stronger, sharper, more focused than ever before. You see, failure is only permanent if you stop. But if you get back up, if you learn from it, if you keep pushing, that failure becomes fuel. It becomes a chapter in your comeback story. Think about the greats, every legend you admire. They failed. Oprah was fired from her first job. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Spielberg was rejected from film school multiple times. They failed, but they didn't stay there. What separates them isn't that they avoided failure, it's that they weren't afraid of it. And listen, you've got to get comfortable with looking foolish sometimes. You've got to be willing to try, to risk, to swing big, even if it means striking out in front of people, because greatness doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from putting your whole heart into something with no guarantees. I remember early on, I did a play that was met with silence. No applause, no cheers, just silence, and man, that silence was loud. I went backstage and thought, maybe this isn't for me. But then I thought again. I asked myself, why did I start this in the first place? It wasn't for applause. It wasn't for approval. It was because I believed in telling stories that moved people. And if I could just touch one soul, even in silence, that was enough. Failure taught me to focus on purpose, not praise, to focus on growth, not glory. It stripped away the ego, the pride, and left only the truth. Are you really willing to fight for your dream, even when it's not clapping for you? Even when no one's watching, even when it hurts? Let me be clear, failure is hard, it stings, it humbles you, but it also builds you, it makes you tougher, it reveals what you're really made of, and sometimes it redirects you towards something even better than what you imagine. A failed relationship might lead you to real love. A failed business might lead you to your true calling. A failed audition might lead you to the role that changes your life. So don't fear failure, face it. Get up close, stare it in the eyes and say, you may have knocked me down, but you're not keeping me down. Learn from it, grow from it. Let it shape you, not break you, because every failure you survive becomes part of your armor. And every time you rise from it, you prove to yourself and to the world that you're not someone who backs down. You're someone who believes deeply, fiercely, in what they were called to do. So fall, fail, but don't quit. Rise up every single time. That's how you become unstoppable. That's how you build a life you're proud of, not perfect, but powerful, not easy, but earned. That's how you write a story that's worth telling. You know, there comes a point in your life where you've heard all the voices. You've listened to the critics, the doubters, the naysayers. You've let their opinions echo in your mind, shake your confidence, slow your steps. But one day, if you're lucky, you reach a moment of clarity. A moment when you stop asking the world for permission to be great, and instead you give yourself permission to rise. You stop living to meet expectations and start living to exceed your own. You stop waiting for someone to discover you and start becoming the version of you that the world can't ignore. And that moment, that's when everything changes. That's when the real shift begins. When you take all that belief, all that pain, all that quiet fire, and you channel it into something unstoppable, because believing in yourself isn't about arrogance. It's not about pretending you've got all the answers or that you never doubt yourself. It's about standing firm in who you are and what you're capable of even when the world doesn't see it yet, especially then. See, I'm talking to the dreamers tonight. I'm talking to the folks who have been laughed at, overlooked, counted out. I know what it feels like to be in the shadows, waiting for your turn, watching others rise while you grind in silence. I've been there, I know that hunger, I know that ache, but I also know the truth. Your time is not given to you, your time is claimed by you. You've got to show up like you belong in the room, even if no one holds the door open. You've got to speak like your words matter, even if the world hasn't learned to listen yet. You've got to walk with purpose, move with power, and act with conviction, even if the results haven't caught up yet. Because belief, real belief, it leads the way. It doesn't wait for proof, it creates it. I remember a moment early in my career, before the fame, before the awards, where I was standing outside an audition room, nervous, unsure, and surrounded by people who looked the part more than I did. My mind was loud with doubt. I questioned everything, but something in my spirit said, "You've already been chosen for something greater. Now go act like it." And I walked into that room with my head high. Because belief doesn't always eliminate fear, but it moves in spite of it. You've got to trust the process. You've got to believe in the preparation, the prayer, the persistence. You've got to trust that the seeds you're planting right now, those early mornings, those late nights, those sacrifices, will one day bear fruit, even if you don't see it yet, even if no one claps for you yet. Even if they call you crazy or unrealistic or too ambitious, let them talk. You weren't born to shrink for their comfort. You weren't born to be average so they could feel safe. You were born to elevate, to inspire, to break generational ceilings and set new standards. But that kind of life doesn't come to the passive. It comes to the bold, the ones who dare to walk in rooms that weren't built for them and make space anyway. So yes, speak life over yourself. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Remind yourself that progress is still progress, even if it's quiet. Let your inner voice be louder than the noise around you. And when it's not, turn down their volume and turn up your faith. Because at the end of the day, this journey is yours, your dream, your name, your legacy. Don't hand the pen to someone else and let them write your story. You hold the pen, you choose the plot, you write the comeback, the rise, the redemption. No one else can believe for you, no one else can walk it for you, but when you believe, truly, deeply, relentlessly, you become dangerous in the best way. You stop waiting, you start building, you stop doubting, you start doing, and you realize that your power doesn't lie in how the world sees you. It lies in how you see yourself. So go ahead, look in the mirror tonight. Not with fear, not with regret, but with fire. Look yourself in the eyes and say, I'm still here, I'm still standing, and I'm just getting started. Now go prove it. So now I leave you with this. Believe. Not halfway, not when it's convenient, not only when the sun is shining. Believe when it's hard, believe when it's quiet, believe when no one else does. Because if you don't believe in you, who will? You were not born to live a small life. You were not created to tiptoe through this world, hoping not to offend or get hurt. No, you were made with purpose, crafted with greatness, built to rise, to fall, and to rise again. So take the hits. Embrace the failures, let the doubt fuel you, let the obstacles sharpen you, because there is strength in your struggle, there is wisdom in your wounds, and there is power in your belief. Walk out of here tonight with your head high, your spirit unshaken, and your heart on fire. Because the world doesn't need another imitation. It needs you, your voice, your vision, your victory. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Make the moment. Don't ask for permission to dream. Command your dream. This strength you're searching for, it's already in you. So believe, and then go become.